Hello friends, I'm Smitha Katti and welcome to the Summer Retreat Workshop.
Smiling Colors is my art and craft blog where you'll find tons of step-by-step tutorials and videos. I'm a huge sketchbook enthusiast. I love doodling our travels, playing with color, hand lettering positive motivational quotes and phrases. Keeping a creative journal is something that's very personal to me. I enjoy putting my thoughts onto paper, filling it with colors and patterns, and just spending 20 minutes a day creating something that relaxes me, makes me focus better, and in general just brings out the best in me. There are numerous ways to fill up a blank page, but I am always drawn to florals. I have some kind of floral theme in almost every page that I create, and that brings us to today's video. I'll be showing you how to create easy floral banners 3 different ways. So let's get started. For my first floral banner, I'll be drawing in my bullet journal itself. I'm using a pencil, a pen, this is a black mono drawing pen, and an eraser. You can feel free to pull out any pen that you have and draw along with me today. You can grab a step-by-step printable guide on my blog. I think there'll be a link somewhere here, and this will actually be something that you can keep on the side and refer to along with this video. I like to begin my drawings all with a pencil. You can of course just start drawing this with a pen or marker, but when I'm doing this in my bullet journal or on a card, I like to make sure that everything looks correct, it's centered, the design looks pleasing, and so I always reach for a pencil first. The pencil makes it super easy to just erase, change your mind, rearrange elements, and make sure everything is looking the way you want it to before we add the ink on top. So you basically just want to draw 2 parallel lines and then join them on the side with a little curve. We'll add ribbon edges to this and then doodle some flowers around it, and it'll be a beautiful floral banner. I know the pencil sketch went really quick, but I'll walk you through it slowly now with the pen. So you want to start with the 2 lines, those need to be parallel, and then join them with a slight curve. You don't want that line to be straight, you want it to have a little bit of curve. And then we add the ribbon edges, which is like this V cut. I like to start outwards and then draw my lines to join this towards the initial ribbon that we drew. So that makes our super simple banner. I'm going to start out easy so all of you can follow along. Now to make it a floral banner, we're just going to doodle flowers around it. So I'm going to be drawing 3 flowers, and all 3 of these flowers will be slightly different. So the first flower I doodled was like small and half, and the second flower that I'm doodling beneath is a little larger, and again it's kind of tucked under the ribbon. If you start with a pencil, you'll be able to overlap the flowers and just trace over one of them completely, and the other one will just be partial. Always make sure that you're doodling leaves. Leaves don't have to be fancy. These are just kind of 2 ovals or 2 curves joining. The leaves just make the florals look so much more believable and prettier. Now this is almost done, but I want to go in and add a little more detail. So I'm adding tiny dots and tiny ovals. These kind of just add a little bit of movement to our floral drawing. Think of these as kind of fillers in a floral bouquet. You don't have to add many of them, but you don't want to have large white spaces. So these tiny elements kind of draw everything together and form a nice floral banner. I might not have traced exactly over my pencil lines, and that's totally okay. I just wanted them there to know what kind of elements I want to draw. Quickly erase all of your pencil marks and your floral banner is ready. You can add your month title into this, you can add a greeting, anything that you want. This is actually perfectly beautiful to add onto a notebook and just write your name on it. Here is a colored version that I've made before. Again, it's a very simple principle, but I feel that all of the elements together just look so pretty and beautiful. It always makes me smile. For our second floral banner, I'm going to be using watercolor cards. You can use any kind of watercolor or mixed media sketchbook that you have, but I'm using these note cards that are made of watercolor paper because I really enjoy gifting these to friends. To make this colorful floral banner, I'll be using brush pens today. You can feel free to use color pencils, crayons, watercolors, anything will work. I'm starting off with my pencil again because I really want to make sure that this floral banner is on the center of the card. So I'm drawing out lines to figure out where I want the center of the banner to be first. This time I'll go slower and I'm going to try and show you my entire pencil process, which takes a few extra minutes, but I think in the end it just makes me more confident to go over it with the ink. This banner is a little more flourishy and a little more fancier, so you want to start off by drawing two lines that are parallel but have a little bit of a swoosh to them. Again, you want to join the two lines that you've drawn with a little bit of a curve. And also make sure that the ribbon that we're drawing, think of this as a ribbon swaying in the wind, it really needs to be of equal height. So if you're starting with a certain height, you want to end with that height. You don't want it to look like the ribbon's kind of tapered off. This is why a pencil comes handy for us. You can just erase and kind of align everything so that you can draw a ribbon that looks like it's just flying in the air. Okay, now that I'm happy with the way the ribbon looks, it's time to add more details to this ribbon. I want to add a fold and then a ribbon cut at the edge. And to do this, let's start on this top corner. You want to draw a small curve upwards and then a straight line down. So the line that you're drawing down kind of needs to look like it's parallel to the line that we've drawn to close the ribbon. And then we're going to repeat this on the other side, but we're going to do it on the bottom edge. So you'll draw a curved line down and then a straight line. So what that little area that we're drawing, it kind of needs to be a mirror and opposite image of what we drew on the top. So now we'll draw the ribbon edge. For that, we just want an equal amount of ribbon hanging out below. So draw two lines, again parallel like we did in the beginning, and you can kind of draw an imaginary line if you need to make sure the ribbon is as wide as it is everywhere else. And then we do the same thing on the other side. Like I said, you can draw an imaginary line, and this will just help you visualize how the ribbon is kind of folding beneath and coming out. Now to draw that little V edge, you want to find the center of the ribbon and then just draw inwards to draw a little V. I like drawing the center first. You can of course just eyeball this and draw it. And that is our ribbon banner. You want to make sure that it's centered. So I'm kind of using my finger here to see if everything looks equal on the edges. And I came short on one side, so I'm erasing and moving my pencil sketch just a tad inwards. Now we get to add florals all around the banner. This is my favorite part. And again, I'm drawing 3 florals first. And like you see, they're 3 different sizes. My florals are really sketchy this time because I'm used to drawing them. I just want to know what size florals I want and where I want them. So I'm just doodling 2 kinds of florals here. One has like these heart-shaped petals. The other has long oval-shaped petals. As usual, I'm adding leaves around it. You really want to add leaves. I feel the green color just pops against the florals and adds so much more vibrancy to our composition. Then I'm filling in some little spaces with tinier flowers, just making sure everything looks pretty. So this floral banner looks really cute to me, so I think I'm ready to ink it. Now, since I plan to watercolor this card, I want to draw my black ink lines with an oil-based marker. You want to make sure that you're not using a water-based black ink pen because that will just bleed with the water. The pen I'm using today is the Mono Twin Permanent Marker by Tombow. It is oil-based and I always use it with my brush pens. So let's start by first tracing over the banner. You want to really go slowly, especially if you're using watercolor or mixed media paper, because these papers have a little bit of texture to them and your pen might feel like it's going over bumpy paper. Just go slow, it'll all work out fine. And once you've got the hang of it, you can kind of speed up your drawing, but the first few lines, just draw it slower than you're used to. Now trace over the folding of the ribbon, and this is where the pencil sketch comes in handy. You don't have to think too much, you're just tracing the lines that you've already drawn, and you know it's going to look pretty. So here are my easy floral doodle ideas. I always start with a circle, and then I add these heart-shaped petals. Sometimes I'll add another extra loop to the edge, so this has like 3 curves on it. I love the way this flower looks. This is what I draw all the time. Once I have like 3 or 4 petals, I'll see how much space I have, and then I complete the flower. You want to always make sure that you have similar flowers, at least 2 or 3 of them. So I'll just repeat this on the bottom side now, and I'm making this flower about the same size and just tucking it under the ribbon so it's a half flower. Again, for the florals, the pencil is basically not even a guide. It's just a marker to tell me what kind of flower I want and how much of it is visible. Like this floral that I just drew, it's kind of tucked underneath the previous one, so it's only a partial flower. So these are the kind of things that I want to mark with my pencil. Otherwise, you can easily just draw everything with a pen. This second flower is actually pretty simple as well. You're just drawing elongated oval shapes for petals. It's kind of like a sunflower or a daisy, very simple, and it's fun to color in. Always make sure you're adding leaves. If nothing else, all of my florals will have more leaves sometimes, and I feel that the contrast of adding greenish blues just makes it look so much more prettier. I highly recommend that you try out doodling leaves every time that you do the flowers. All of my leaves are very simple shaped, but if you observe it, all of them are kind of different also. Some of them are fatter, some of them are thinner, some of them are smaller, some of them are skinnier. Just by adding these tiny variations and differences, we create so much more interest to our simple floral doodles. So before you watercolor, we want to just erase all of those pencil marks. You want to press down lightly while drawing with your pencil. This just makes it easier to erase the pencil marks at the end of the project. This is actually my favorite part, when you erase all of those pencil lines and then you have this pristine, beautiful black line drawing. So much fun. So to color in my floral banners today, I'm using brush pens. These are the Tombow Dual Brush pens. I love going in rainbow order, so I have a few colors picked out. And I'm also going to be using a water brush. A water brush is basically a paintbrush that has a barrel attached to it. I can fill this barrel with water, and this way I get to take my paintbrush on the go, and I don't need to find a cup of water to paint with. You just press the barrel and water comes out the paintbrush tip. It's super easy to use and a lot of fun and very convenient, especially if you're on the go. Feel free to color in these florals with any kind of coloring medium that you have. Markers, color pencils, crayons, watercolors, acrylic, anything will make it look prettier. So I'm going to start by coloring my flower. I'm adding red color, but I'm adding it just towards the bottom of each petal. Because my brush pens are water reactive, I'll just paint over this with water, and the color and the pigment just spreads like watercolor. So I'm not doing anything here, I'm just adding brush pen to paper and painting over it. The more brush pen you add to the paper, the more vibrant your color will be. If you add a tiny dot of color and then paint over it, you will get lighter versions of the color. This technique works best on watercolor paper and mixed media papers. If you try it on thinner papers, the pigment just gets absorbed too quickly and you won't be able to spread it with the water. So I'm just going to continue in this manner and color in all of the flowers and the leaves that we've drawn. And I'll play some music here and you can enjoy this coloring video. Or if you've been drawing with me, you can enjoy some coloring time. So my flowers are all colored in. I know they're really rainbowy and bright. I like making it very cheerful and colorful. So now I'm going to throw in a little bit of hand lettering at you. I want to letter the word thank you or thanks onto the banner. And I've realized that when I want to do something this large and it's kind of swooshy, I just write it down quickly. I don't try to take time and make everything look perfect. My first instinct is just to write the letters, and if it looks centered, then I trace over it slowly with the pen. If you want to at this point, you can actually change your pen. It doesn't need to be an oil-based pen. Any pen will work at this point because we're not going to be watercoloring anymore. I like to have a bunch of cards with the floral banner on hand, and I actually leave the sentiment portion empty so that if I need a happy birthday card or a thank you card or a hello card, I have a stack on hand that I just need to fill in with the sentiment. I'm erasing my pencil lines, and that's it. Our thank you card is ready. You don't have to make a card design. You can use this on a journal, in your sketchbooks, to make a bookmark. There are so many ways you can use this, and you can doodle this design onto anything that you want. I've actually used this design previously in my sketchbook. And that was my inspiration for the card. And I just wrote the word happiness in it. I doodled it, I added lots of flowers around it, and I painted it with watercolor. I've actually filled in the areas between the flowers with more watercolors, and I love the way that one turned out as well. So now let's quickly learn to draw our third floral banner. It's a little more elaborate, and I want you to draw first 3 parallel lines. 3 sets of parallel lines, I mean. So what we're drawing is actually 6 parallel lines. You want to have each pair of line be the same height. So again, think of this as a ribbon in your mind, and you want to draw 3 ribbons, kind of parallel to each other, and keep the distance between them equal. And then join the ribbon ends with a slight curve. I'm starting with pencil as usual, and my lines are very messy, but that's okay because I just want this to be kind of a guideline for me to realize how I want the banner to look. I don't quite fiddle with the pencil marks too much because how much ever you do it, this is going to look like a hand-drawn banner. It's not going to look perfect at any measure. So let's just go over it with ink. I'm using a bold marker this time because I think this is going to be more visible for you on the video. You can always use a pen or a pencil itself. So let's just trace over those 3 pair of lines. So we have a nice ribbon and we've made sure they're kind of equal in height, and there's an equal amount of gap between the 2 of them, between the 3 of them. Now to add the ribbon edge, at the top corner, you want to draw one curved line going upwards and then draw another line parallel to it. And this ribbon line kind of needs to be the same height that we drew before. Then we want to draw the same thing at the bottom. Now let's just finish off those ribbon edges with a nice sharp V. You can mark the center of the ribbon and then draw lines or curves to kind of join them to the center. We're almost done with the banner. We just need to draw a few more curved lines to join as you see me draw here. So this just makes it look like the ribbon is folding underneath. And then you want to draw another parallel line, again as wide as our ribbon was. And that finishes our 3 ribbon banner. You can extend this to make it a longer banner, like a 5 ribbon banner if you need to. Now we'll just draw some flowers around it. I'm not adding too many florals, very small amount, just at the top and the bottom. Same principles that we've been following till now. Draw a flower, draw leaves, and just fill in the little areas up and below. This one is super simple but so fancy as well. This would look great on a chalkboard or again in your sketchbook. I use this to write a quote in it, choose happiness daily, and I added a lot more flowers in my sketchbook. So that's another example you can keep in mind. And here's a look at all of the banners that we drew in today's class. This one is the floral banner with more colors and it's a larger one. Here's the simpler banner that we drew first, and then the final 3-fold ribbon banner.
So there you have it, friends. 3 easy ways to draw floral banners. I hope you drew along with me, and if you share something on social media, make sure to tag me at Smitha Katti. I'd love to see what you created. I also have a blog, smilingcolors.com, where I share tons of watercolor drawing and such tutorials, and that's where you can grab the printable that we followed along today. I'll leave a link below, or it's also here, smilingcolors.com. On my YouTube channel, I try to share weekly an art or craft video, and I hope to see you there. Till then, happy crafting, friends!